Okay, and I'm live. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right on into this. I know that this is a little bit of a later stream than you guys are used to, but eh, it is what it is. I don't expect too many people to be in the chat for this, but whoever shows up, that'll be awesome. So let's see now. Let's see. Let's go ahead and start off with the New Amsterdam. I'm going to go ahead and link all the links down in the description after I'm done with this live stream. But this is from Return of Kings. New Amsterdam law criminalizes the act of unsuccessfully flirting with women in public. Written by David Brown. All right, so Amsterdam, the largest city in the Netherlands, and once a mecca for those interested in pot and prostitution, is in the process of criminalizing men approaching women. Though the Netherlands has enjoyed a reputation as a liberal country sans the SJW extremism of Scandinavia, this might be about to change. Yeah, no shit. We've already seen that it kind of has changed. And how's it going, Black Sand? The new laws in Amsterdam are aimed at male actions that, quote unquote, frighten women, according to one of the lawmakers responsible. This kind of highly subjective test in an age where women write 2,000 word diatribes on manspreading on public transportation is ripe for abuse and overuse. Let's go ahead and talk about that. So, honestly, I think that he's 100% right with that. The thing is when you go ahead and you make something that is subjective illegal, people are going to over abuse it. They're going to go ahead and say, "Oh, let's go ahead." I mean, overuse and abuse it. Sorry, little Freudian slip there. Because well, let's just be honest, with the legal systems out there, people abuse it on a regular basis. But um, when when you've got people that are sitting there and looking at something as innocuous as sitting down with your legs wider open than what they would assume is to be normal or acceptable, subjectively. And if they're sitting there and writing that this is somehow an assault, and then you put into the hands of these people the power to go ahead and say, well, if you perceive something as an attack, let us know and we'll punish the person. What do you think is going to fucking happen? Anywho, in Rotterdam, the Netherlands' second city, large fines and even jail time await a man who catcalls or quote unquote bothers a woman in any way. So they're basically saying that unless that men need to be seen and not heard until spoken to, basically. The test is also painfully subjective and shows no indication that it will rely on proper evidence, only the he said, she said calculations already capable of sending men to prison for decades after poorly argued rape allegations. Um, as far as the false rape allegations, I've been noticing that people are actually starting to at least acknowledge now that false rape allegations aren't a uh, uncommon thing, because they can't really honestly argue against people bringing up false rape allegations. I mean, it's been proven that it destroys men's lives. Um, then also at the same time, you know, people are sitting there and saying, and now people are starting to actively go after the people that are making these false accusations because they know that it hurts the actual victims of actual crimes. Hey, Zeitgeist, how's it going? Hey, Wayne. I don't agree with overthrowing the United States government in the current situation, but that'll be for another stream. But thank you for actually saying that, because I'll go ahead and I will talk about that in a stream later on. But the thing is when it comes to false rape allegations, at least people are starting to take that shit seriously now, because we've been coming out with example after example after example. But the thing is uh, when you go ahead and see shit like this, it's all like this right here is just I'm telling you right now, this is going to be used. It's going to go from this being considered sexual harassment to somehow being some version of rape so that they can pad the rape statistics. I've already said this before. Feminists at this point are looking, and I mean absolutely just needing to feel exonerated in their what the fuck claims. Hey, Dilgaff, how's it going? What's up, buddy? Do you want to join in on this shit? But the thing is people have been telling me that I'm constantly guilty of slippery slope fallacy. Well, to those people who have been asking me that or telling me that, I have something to ask them. Oh, sweet, we're gonna have Dilgaff in here. But to those people, I have this question: how does crow taste? Does it taste like chicken? Does it? I mean, I have to ask this. I have to, because yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, oh, all right. Boop, copy. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get Dilgaff in on this. Paste. Yeah, Dilgaff, for some odd reason, it's not letting me direct invite. In 1 second, let me go ahead and open up another thing. But while I'm going ahead and doing this, yeah, what's your guys' view on this so far? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'll go ahead and I'll respond. I'm trying to go ahead and get Dilgaff in here. For some odd reason, the invite's not working all that great. Boop. Boosh. Copy. Boom. All right, Dilgaff, I just went ahead and sent you the invite link. In Hangouts.
What are you saying, fella? Can you hear me all right?
Hey, how's it going, man?
All good, man. Yourself?
Doing all right. Just going ahead and covering a few links that Bullet ended up sending me. Guy's been sending me a bunch of stuff that he wants me to cover, and I've been kind of busy lately, so I'm covering several of the things in this stream.
Fair, man. Fair.
Yep.
I kind of joined in at kind of like the right moment. You were saying a few minutes ago about how they're kind of realizing that the damage that the false rape accusations do to the actual victims.
Yep. Slowly but
Did
surely. It's not
did,
happening in any great capacity, but
did there was there any mention to the sort of lives that they destroyed, that these false accusations, the lives that they had destroyed? Was there anything about that out of pure curiosity?
oh, not
Was
not in any of these articles. Not none
funny that.
none of these articles, but two of the articles that I'm covering are from basically MGTOW or MRA style conservative level publications, and then another one is from leftist cunt. Um,
Nice, just what you
yeah,
want.
people are sitting there and calling me a hardliner now that I'm using cunt more and more often. It's all like what the fuck? Doesn't make me a
Well,
hardliner. It just makes me honest.
yeah. Well, this is it, you know.
You know, and it's all like I don't use the word cunt lightly.
No, no, it's usually when it's actually meant in its rightful
Yeah,
meaning,
it's
you
all
know.
like it's all like this person. Like the thing is at this point, to anyone watching, to anyone listening now or afterwards, whatever, for me, calling someone a cunt is the same thing as me calling them a missed abortion opportunity. They are interchangeable. That is the level of disdain I have for the person when I call them that, unless it's in a joking way. At which point you'll be able to
Yeah,
tell when I'm joking.
yeah. There's a
And if you
difference
can't,
between a
fuck
funny
off.
cunt and an unfunny cunt.
Exactly, exactly.
No, fair,
But
fair.
but yeah, no, they're actually illegalizing this stuff. And you know what, guys? I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put the links down below because now that I got Dilgaff in here, let's go ahead and have a discussion. It's been such a long time since I've had a guest on the channel. This is amazing. Because I know our schedules haven't been lining up. So
No,
how have
yeah,
you
man.
been, man? By the way, just
Mate,
out of curiosity.
I've been all over the place, mate. I took 3 weeks off basically, and I went over to the Balkans for a week. I've got friends over there. And man, like, talk about a totally different mindset to what we're used to seeing, like not only here in the UK but out in the States as well. I mean, there's still got the same kind of issues. It's just not on the same sort of scale, and it's not as, batshit crazy and ridiculous.
Yeah, it
And
hasn't taken as much root yet.
I'm kind of hoping it won't, because like that there's still so many families out there. There are other families, I guess, maybe more communities that follow the kind of, I guess some would describe it as blue pill, but what I refer to as the old school ways of living. Like the
Yeah.
family stays together. You respect, I mean, you
And the
got
thing
respect
is
for
that
one
system,
another.
as long as you're respecting all of it, it works. As soon as you start
Absolutely.
disrespecting one aspect of it, all of a sudden the whole thing crumbles. It is a very it's a house made of cards. A very beautiful house, mind you,
Oh yeah,
but it
and
is
I
made
mean,
of cards. And right now we've got some pretty turbulent winds.
well, I mean that's to be fair. I mean that's more over here. I mean I'm kind of thinking that I'm kind of hoping, if anything, that they can keep the values as they are, and that they won't become as batshit crazy as what they are over here. I mean, I think, if I'm honest, if any of the feminists were to go out there and start preaching their bullshit, I'm pretty sure they get marched out there pretty damn sharpish, which is good.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is good, because it's let's face it, it's done nothing but destroy society since fuck knows how long ago. But we know
Yeah.
this. But
Yeah.
it was
Well,
actually
and not
really,
to mention these smaller countries are seeing what's happening to the bigger countries and they're like, if this can happen to them, it sure as fuck can happen to us. We have to be proactive against this.
yeah. I mean,
They're
interestingly
see
enough, it's kind of like, it is kind of on topic but slightly off topic. One of the guys that I game with quite regular, he's an army vet from the United States, and of course my friends over out in the Balkans, they don't really know a great sort of deal about the ins and outs, and how vets, whether it's Marine or Army or whatever, how they're treated afterwards when they come back from serving their time. Because I mean, we
Yeah.
talk for hours and that amongst ourselves when we're gaming and whatnot. And
Yeah.
he didn't get it. It's just like, how can they, he's like, how can the country do that to him? I'm like, mate, that's what they do to the soldiers. It's not just the United States. It's the UK, and it's.
Yeah, it's pretty much
And
all of Western society.
yeah. And I said, whereas, and he's like, oh, hasn't he got a wife and kids? I said, well, if he did have, you know, she'd leave and she'd get priority with the kids. He'd be left to do his thing with, trying to struggle for money and so on. Like, it's what they do, isn't it?
It's
It
actually
is.
it's actually funny because one of the articles that I have, and I'll go ahead and I'll directly send the link to this article to you, so you can go ahead and read through it. But it is entitled, uh, one second, "Why Divorce and Suicide is a Fatal Brew for Men." Um, and it actually gives
Well,
17 separate reasons. Like, it's a very well thought out and very intuitive, easy to follow thing. I recommend that anyone listening now or afterwards goes ahead and watches this. And the link that I'm putting in is an archive link, so it's not going anywhere, motherfuckers.
yeah, you can't take that shit down.
So it's all like, boom. This is a link that it personifies the once it's on the internet, it can never be undone.
No, fair.
So, but yeah, it's absolutely amazing. The person absolutely nails it on the end. I highly recommend it. It's funny that you brought it up, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, like I say, because it's a totally different way of life for them as it is for us.
yeah,
I mean, for me, it was absolutely brilliant going out there and just, not dealing with the same kind of bullshit and not seeing the same kind of bullshit that I've been used to seeing for obviously quite as long as what I have seen. You
yeah.
know, and I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
sort of, you know,
it sucks that Boogie 2988 isn't a MGTOW, because the thing is I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he actually just went ahead and got gastric bypass surgery, and he's one of the few people that I think actually needed it. Um, because this guy was like massively overweight to the point to where his knees could not support his weight anymore. He was having a hard time getting around. He was that far overweight, and he wanted to lose the weight, but the more he tried, once you get to a certain point, you can't really do anything. And so it gets infinitely harder to drop off that weight, because being physically active, just your average everyday stuff that we take for granted, like standing up from sitting down, we take that for granted. For him, it was absolutely agonizing. It was basically like if you were to go ahead, try to stand up from sitting while you're holding a 500-pound weight in front of you. I mean, imagine what that would do to your back, to your knees, all that shit. But the thing is he was actually sitting there and talking about how he's becoming less independent, and how he was because his wife's going and visiting some family that needs some help, and he's staying behind so he can continue working on his YouTube channel and that sort of thing. But he's also going to be having some fun and that sort of thing, and he's going to be getting out doing this stuff. And he said something that kind of got me to smile. He's all like, "Yeah, for a week, I'm going to go into the bachelor life again." And all of a sudden, like, I had this huge grin on my face, because Boogie is an awesome fucking person. Um, so the thing is, I'm happy for him. I congratulate him. He's an awesome person. I wish him all the best as far as that goes. Anyone who wants to go ahead and lose some weight and get healthy and become more active, I fully back him on it. In fact, I encourage it in people. So yeah, shout out to Boogie. Congratulations, man. Keep up the good work. But but yeah, no. One of the things that was covered in the article that I was just telling you about was actually how when divorce happens, the woman's life doesn't really change that much, whereas the guy's fundamentally changes on just about every fucking level.
oh hell yeah! I mean, you're talking starting again from scratch
Yeah,
in the majority of cases.
starting again from scratch with a bigger handicap now.
Oh yeah, because
And
you're
that
having to pay out what you haven't got to begin with.
yeah, like seriously, people sit there and try to say that. And since you brought up gaming, I can't help but bring up this analogy. People say that being a guy is easy mode. No, it's not. It's Dark
Oh,
Souls mode.
if
It is
only.
Dark Souls mode.
It's like everyone else has got God mode and you haven't.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And yet men still find themselves fucking winning in it. Who has a skill again? I mean, if you see someone in there in a server that allows for every fucking cheat to be used and they're not using any cheats, but they're still up at the fucking top, how much fucking respect do you have for that motherfucker? You
Yeah.
know? I mean, that you know, it's all like that. That's basically being a guy if life is a video game.
And if you're a guy going MGTOW and it's a video game, it's you going passive mode, man. They can't fuck with you that way.
Yeah, pretty much.
You
But
know?
the thing is no, someone actually brought up, I think it was Black Sand in the chat earlier, said no need to talk to them. They're making MGTOWs out of men. When I was talking about the first article,
Okay.
about how they're illegalizing failed attempts at, or criminalizing failed attempts at flirting.
Huh. Nice.
And yeah, he brings up a very good point there. And I was actually talking with my dad because I had to go and pick him up from a doctor's appointment. I was talking to him about it, and my dad was sitting there, and he's all like, "Yep, that's gonna drive guys away as fast as possible." I mean, no.
Well, it just
And he
takes away
just and he just looked at me,
another
he's all like, "I
incentive,
feel
doesn't
so bad for your generation." I'm like,
it?
"Oh damn."
Yeah.
Oh
To which
damn!
you should
Like that
to
that
which
hurt. I'm like,
to
oh
to which you should have thrown in. It's your fault, motherfucker.
yeah, pretty much. But the thing is like my dad fully understands like where I'm coming from with all this. He fully understands it. He doesn't necessarily agree with my way of going about addressing it,
Yeah.
which is fine, and that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna rag on him for it. But he understands my reasoning for being as upset about it as I am, and
Well,
so it's kind of
that's
cool being
it.
able to talk with him about that. In fact, it's one of the few things that we can talk about where we don't get into a screaming match with each other. Funnily
So,
enough,
which is good.
yes. But I mean, it's an Italian family, so it sounds like a screaming match anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
Goes with the territory. Exactly that.
but yeah.
Yeah.
But no, but more and more guys, even the trad cons are starting to having to step back and go, yeah, son of a
Yeah. Not.
bitch. MGTOW's got a point. They've got more of a point than the MRAs. Fuck me. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
even the
Well,
trad cons are stopping and saying that.
well, this is it. I mean, much as
Hey, Turbattle, how's it going?
I do kind of support the MRAs and that. Like I said before, a lot of them
Oh yeah, I do
they
too.
they come up with some good points and everything, but then when they start getting battered around a bit, so to speak, verbally, by the sort of hardcore feminists, in order to appease. I mean, some would say it's not necessarily appeasing; it's more of compromise. Which, there should be a compromise, but let's face it: when you're compromising with the unreasonable, it's not a compromise. Do you know what I mean? It works out not as equal as you wanted, and you end up giving more in the long term anyway. So it's still not a win-win battle for either side. Well, it is for one side, of course, but
Yeah.
but I mean, still, it's I mean, they do what they got to do, man, and I respect them for it. So I just don't totally agree with how they kind of go about it in all aspects. But it's one of them things, man. We all agree to disagree with some things, man.
Yeah, yeah, and and
So
and and I don't see a problem with that. I mean, we're all individuals. We all have our own views. But the thing is the problem comes in whenever a group actually brings up a legitimate concern that they have, stone cold evidence on.
yeah, yeah,
And then the other group goes, "Oh, well that doesn't count because we don't like you." That's when it becomes a problem. Um
I mean, that's
I
the
absolutely hate that shit. Like me, whenever someone sits there and says that rape is a problem, I don't disagree with it because it is a fucking problem. It's something that
yeah, oh
shouldn't
yeah,
fucking happen. But at the same time, it's all like they go, if they sit there and say rape is only a problem that applies to women, well, that's when they get the claws and the fangs.
yeah.
Um, uh, But the thing is I'm also against anyone, just saying, oh, well, this law should only apply to this gender or this skin color or, whatever, whatnot. And I don't care if it's a positive thing or a negative thing. It's bullshit no matter how you look at it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's because this is it. It's got to be right across the board. It's got to be fair across the board and equal.
Yep.
Yeah. Otherwise, what is the point? Because that's when the inequalities start,
Mhm.
and then naturally that's when people start, getting upset with it. And of course,
Honestly, I'm starting to think that humanity cannot live without a caste system. So something's telling. I want to look into this and see if there's like a genetic reason for a caste system with humanity.
What do you mean by caste system? Sorry to sound a bit thick
Like
on
like
that, but
like like no, so a lot of people don't know what a caste system is. Basically, what it is it's the kind of like since you come from the UK, you're familiar with kingdoms, monarchies.
yeah,
A
yeah.
monarchy is actually a caste system because you have the monarch, which is kind of the supreme ruler type of thing. Then you
Oh,
got
right.
the people directly underneath of the monarch, basically the advisors, council, that sort of thing. Then under that you have the dukes. Then under that you have the property owners. Then under that you have the tax collectors, and then under that you have the plebs.
Yeah. And do you know how many problems them motherfuckers have caused for this country?
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is we're going back to this again, except instead of it being based off of royal lineage, as far as bloodline is concerned, which is a problem in and of itself to begin with, webbed feet and all. But um, on top of that, now we're sitting here and saying, no, it has to do with what you do or don't have between your legs, as well as your skin color, as well as, this, that, and the other. And it's all like, are you fucking kidding me? And it's more commonly referred to as the progressive stack. The progressive stack is a caste system.
Right. Yeah. 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 I see.
It fits
Yeah.
the definition of a caste system to a T. And I hate caste systems because the thing is that means that what you're born as determines what you're going to be
Yeah.
in all
Whether
but
you
the most
fail or
extreme of
succeed.
circumstances. Because, you have the Joan of Arcs, but people don't realize that, Joan of Arc, yeah, it was kind of a Mulan situation. She pretended to be something that she wasn't to get ahead.
Yeah.
And
Chameleon.
whatever, but the thing is at least with Mulan, Mulan actually did some fucking good. Whereas with Joan of Arc, it led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of men under her command. Whereas with Mulan, not so much. Because
Yeah.
Mulan viewed people as equal. Whereas, and she didn't see the reason to segregate people. Whereas with Joan of Arc, she viewed men as expendable, the typical bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mulan somehow managed to go above that. Honestly, I think Mulan was the last actual Nawalt to ever exist.
Mm,
Um,
it's yeah.
in my
It's
opinion.
I see. Yeah, I see it in that kind of perspective. Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
At least that records show.
It's a
I
bit.
mean, I'm sure there
Yeah.
might be. You know, but
But then
yeah,
I mean, there's always going to be that scenario of like I said before, case by case study.
yeah, exactly.
It's
And but the thing is at this point they're wanting to go to a caste system. They're making women literally the untouchables at this point. And people
well,
are sitting there and saying, oh, that's a slippery slope fallacy. No, it's happening in real time. I'm saying this because this is happening. You can see it in all of the Western legal systems.
yeah, but I mean that's been going on for, as we know, decades.
Yes, it
You
has
know,
been, but
you
people are
know.
saying that I'm just now coming up with a slippery slope fallacy. No, if I had said this back, in, the, before the year 1000, then maybe you could call it a slippery slope fallacy. Maybe. But the thing is that slippery slope fallacy would have proven true now.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And people keep telling me that I'm guilty of slippery slope. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm telling you where this is going to go because I can see where it's going
well,
based off of history, you
yeah.
know? based off of empirical fact, based off of human nature, based off of what has happened in the past. I don't want to repeat that, but these motherfuckers just can't help themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true.
So
Again,
that's where I come from on it. It's all like, look, not everything that I say is going to happen is going to happen. Let's be honest. I'm not prophetic. I don't think so anyway. But
well,
no, but so
sometimes,
far
yeah,
what
but
I've
this
been
is
saying,
it.
what's been proven wrong as far as what's going to happen, other than Lacey Green.
Yeah, I haven't been too up to date with that. We're going to segue into that one.
No, we're not gonna segue into Lacey Green. But I'm just
Oh,
saying that's I like me. I haven't really been keeping up with it, but apparently her and Sargon are getting along now,
well, I mean, that was bound to
like to
happen
that
anyway.
degree, But the thing is it's all like, no, dude, what the fuck? But the thing is also at the same time, I'm like, you know,
Yeah, is it really?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's all like, is
yeah,
it a genuine thing or is this a honeypot situation?
no,
Um,
exactly. Yeah,
and that's the thing. A lot of people are all like, oh, well, you're so untrusting. It's all like, I've been given
yeah,
every
yeah,
reason to not be
yeah.
trusting.
Exactly that. No, no, exactly that. It's a lot of people don't get that. You know,
It's
and
like
it's
sitting
I
there.
mean,
It's the same argument as with pit bulls. It's all like, okay, yeah, pit bulls can be the nicest dogs out there, but they are dangerous. They have the potential for it. And if raised in such a way, they can be one of the biggest threats to you.
oh hell
So, of
yeah,
course, people have like this natural fear
mm,
of pit bulls.
of course, yeah, and, it's a healthy one at that, and rightly
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And
And the thing
and the
is
same applies.
women are my pit bull at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
You know, it's all like, that's the thing. It's all like, yeah, no, they're being raised to attack. They are being raised as attack dogs. But the
I
thing
mean,
is
is it?
instead of actually having to beat them to get them to get to that point, all you have to do is tell them that they've been beaten.
Yeah, no,
That's all
exactly
you
that.
have to do. You just have to
Yeah,
say it.
yeah. You blah blah blah. That's it. So,
So yeah,
but I mean, let's face it. I mean, this is something that's again, it's been going on for fuck knows how long. But I mean, let's face it, because of
since at the very
that
latest, the 60s.
because oh, you can't you can't hit women, and to a degree, I agree with that. Whereas
See,
you shouldn't
I
hit,
don't agree with that in any way, because
you
I
shouldn't.
can at any point hit a woman. I am
No, hit it.
physically capable of hitting a woman. So if someone says I can't hit a woman, it makes me want to prove them wrong.
No, but yeah, I get. Yeah, I kind of get where you go with that one. But no, but hear me out, right?
Yeah,
And
no, I'm just
it's
being a smart
it's
ass at this point.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know
No,
you're
I
coming
get you, man. I get you. But it's that one. I mean, obviously, it's not really okay to hit anyone unless you absolutely necessarily have to. Sometimes needs must. I get that. You're in a situation sometimes as, but at the same time, with that is that then puts them in a position of power from the beginning.
Yes,
In
yes, it
that
does.
in
It
that
puts them at
in
an
that
unfair advantage at the beginning because they can
in
attack
that
you, but you
social
can't attack them.
situation. Exactly that. Exactly that. So
And
of
to
course with
anyone who
that,
wants to argue against that, there are plenty of social experiment videos out there where they've gone out and had the the same situation play out, just reversing the fucking roles. And every single time the guy was hitting the woman,
White Knight
then
Central.
he got his ass whooped by other people. But the thing is when it was the woman beating the guy, people were sitting there laughing, cheering it on, and even joining in. And if the guy defended himself, even more people would jump him. It was the same reaction as if he had thrown the first punch.
Yeah, exactly that.
So don't even.
But my argument is, well, this is now the 21st century, and everyone's on about equality and egalitarianism and so on. So, in my opinion, in the same, looking at it from a sports perspective, now by sports I'm talking about martial arts and that kind of a thing rather than jogging or whatever. You know, whereas you
Rather
can have
than pussy ball. Got it.
whereas you can have two black belts in any particular martial art, and it doesn't matter what they've got between the legs.
Yeah.
What matters is who wins, who's got the better skill, who's got, that's,
Yeah,
and
who's got
that
the better
is,
technique? Who
yeah,
has the better
yeah,
judgment? Who
exactly
has the
that.
better situational awareness? All that shit. And I love that. And that's one of the reasons why. Oh, who's that MMA fighter that sat there and she ended up ripping apart the Women's
Oh, is
Football
it,
Association down in Australia when she went there for an interview.
was that
Uh,
Rona? Is it Rona?
yeah, I think Rona. Yeah, no, with her. Oh yeah, no, full mast on
Yeah,
her. Like, oh my god, because I have the utmost respect for her. She understands the situation,
yeah.
and I'm
You
I'm
go
like that. I have to respect that. I do.
exactly. Goes in knowing what to expect and what the score is. It is what it is.
And she was one of the
Because
ones that spoke out against transgender, male to female coming into the female league. She's all like, only transgenders will win at that point.
really, I must have missed that one.
Oh yeah, no,
But
she outright called him out on it. I'll try to find the article where they did that, and oh, she got a razz of shit for it. But the thing is, it ended up proving right in was it in the Olympics where this woman quote unquote won a weightlifting contest by a fair margin, but the women used to have a twig and berries.
yeah, right.
And
Yeah,
it's all like, oh, well, and they're all like, well, her hormone levels right now are that of a woman. It's all like, yeah, but while she quote unquote was growing up,
yeah. With
there
something
was the
else.
benefit of that higher testosterone, so higher bone density. Where and then you've got the genetics where the muscles and tendons actually latch on to the skeletal system. There is a difference there, which results in increased strength.
Yeah,
In a competition
because
of sheer brute force, the world's strongest woman was having a hard time going up against guys that weren't lower than the 40th percentile. That
and
is
that should
fact.
and
It
that
was
should
actually
say,
put to the
you
test.
know,
So when it comes
again,
to sheer brute strength, yes, men have the advantage there by a wide margin. And so sitting there and saying, "Oh, well, the hormone levels now," okay, well, all right, if you're going to argue off of the now, this is the one time that the left argues off of, well, now, forget the
yeah,
past. It's the one
yeah,
fucking time.
yeah, you know it.
Whereas the rest, they're all
Exactly.
like, well, in the past, and now doesn't matter. It's all like,
Yeah, yeah.
fuck you.
That was then. That was then. This is now. Deal with it.
Right? And it's all like, son of a bitch. But
No,
yeah,
exactly.
so I forget who it was, but wasn't there like some football league that told a transgender male to female that they couldn't play, and then the
Uh,
transgender like started bitching and complaining?
well, I honestly couldn't tell you. Um, I don't really follow much about football. I mean,
All right,
it ain't my thing, if
and I'm
I'm
actually
totally
saying
honest.
football
So
as in what would be referred
like
to as soccer to
soccer,
Americans.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I'm actually
it
using your terminology here.
yeah, no, that's cool, man. That's cool. That's
See,
appreciated.
motherfuckers, that's called
Yeah.
adaptiveness.
Uh,
But
uh, uh, any females in the audience, you may struggle with this.
right?
so,
Jesus Christ.
so that was a bit harsh, wasn't it? A bit below the belt.
Hey,
But
it
fuck
is
it.
what it is. It is what it is.
Welcome to a man's world, man. What the hell, you know?
It's all, but the thing is it's all like, but when I sit here and I look at them, illegalizing or somehow criminalizing a failed flirting attempt, it's all like, the thing is if
It's
guys sit there and see this, if you keep going down this road, more and more guys are going to sit there and say, yeah, fuck talking to women, fuck interacting with them. I'm not, if I see a woman, I'm crossing over to the other side of the street.
shit, and looking down at the ground while doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
just
then
in
they're going to sit
case.
there and say, "Oh, well, men are antisocial by nature." No, we're not.
Yeah,
We're not
it's
antisocial. You've made it
cause and
illegal for
effect,
us to be social,
and it cause and effect.
right?
Simple. Yeah.
But
Well, that's
I also brought up
that.
one thing with my dad, and I want to get your opinion on it because he fully agreed with me on it. But he's also my dad, so he might be a little biased.
All
Um,
right.
I was sitting there and bringing it up. I'm all like, women are doing this trying to get rid of the low quality males so their quote unquote time doesn't get wasted. So the woman's time doesn't get wasted. But all they're
Okay.
doing is going to lead to more of the wasting of their time because pretty soon it's going to get to the point where the only guys that will ever walk up and hit on women are going to be guys that are homeless out on the street starving. Because what's the worst that can happen to them? They go to fucking prison, get 3 hots and a cot. So their
Well,
situation's going to improve no matter fucking what. So that toothless hobo on the side of the street is going to sit there and come up to hit on you because either he's getting his dick wet or he's getting 3 hots in a cot. One of the fucking two. That's the only guy that will be incentivized to speak to women. Any guy who's above that level is going to say, fuck that, I ain't losing all my shit.
well, I mean, to be fair, if it's taking that literally, a hobo that's on the street, homeless and that, like you say, they have nothing else to lose.
Yeah,
Literally
exactly.
nothing else to lose.
Exactly. All they have is the opportunity to move up. They are at absolute rock bottom.
And then even then, it would be a case of, well, because would you want to? This is where the whole definition of quote unquote rape comes in, right? Or sexual assault, should I say? Not rape, but a
Sexual
sexual
assault,
assault.
sexual harassment, rape,
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. Because let's
They're
face
using
it.
all that interchangeably nowadays anyway, so fuck it.
Well, this is it. But either way, if you get thrown on the inside, I mean, let's face it. There's nothing that that they like more on the inside. Well, they don't like them. Hence, really bad things happen to them once they do get thrown inside. If they get caught or they're accused of something that they didn't do and they end up inside as a result.
Yeah.
It will get to that point that maybe even the hobos will be like, yeah, no, I'm not down with that either.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So many guys will be in the system on those false rape allegations or those bullshit allegations. You really
yeah.
don't think the culture inside of prisons will change? You
Um,
really? I mean, take a look at what's happening in the UK. Look at the influx of a completely different cultural standard into the
yeah, but
UK.
that,
Look at what's happening to the UK. Look at
yeah,
what's
but
happening to the culture in the UK.
yeah, but that
It's
hasn't,
changing.
but that's all been done on purpose though. That's been going on for years, and
Yeah,
that's
but
been done
it
on
doesn't matter if
purpose.
it's being done on purpose or by accident. The thing is it happens when you do that. And
But the
so if a
thing is,
bunch of guys get put in there for those bullshit rape charges, the mentality inside of the prison system is going to change. Be all like, all right, if this guy says he didn't do it, more than likely he didn't because like a woman can sit there and as long as you were in the same county as her at one point in your life, you can be accused of sexual assault.
oh yeah, no,
You
without
know,
a doubt.
and the mentality in the prison system will change.
But then the mentality of inside the prison system is, well, I didn't do anything anyway, regardless of whether they did or not, and whatever the crime was.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
they're all in there because they're innocent. And
I don't
obviously,
know. There's a few
you know,
people that are in the prison
uh,
system that are like, yeah, I fucking did it.
oh
You know,
well, yeah, this, yeah, no, exactly. You do get
and then
those,
there's some that
and
are all like, yeah, I did it. What?
yeah, and generally they tend to be
And those
in
are the ones
the
that get the
more
conjugal
highest.
visits from random women on the internet.
Yeah,
Anywho.
no, that's yeah, no, that is a fair point because how many? I mean, I don't know about over in the States, but over here we've seen that quite a few times. We've
Oh
seen it
yeah, no,
with the screws. We've seen it with
Like Manson over here. Jesus Christ.
yeah, but he technically didn't do anything.
Technically, he
He,
didn't. Technically,
but
he didn't do anything. But it's
he
also the
convinced
same.
the
Also with
yeah.
Manson, it was the same argument as, well, I didn't kill him. Him bleeding out from the bullet I put in him killed him. It's that same kind of argument. It's like, well, I didn't directly do it. Something that I did directly led to that directly leading to them dying, but I didn't directly do it. It's one of those kinds of arguments.
Yeah, but it also it raises that well, if someone tells you to put your hand in a fire, you're going to go ahead and do it just because someone else told you to.
I don't know. If you're a
There's
cuck,
a
you might.
oh, well, that's a whole different kettle of fish, dude. But but it's the same sort of thing. But either way, using that as an example, not that I'm excusing what he did. Well, I'm not. I'm just using it as an example. But the same to be on point with that is the whole accountability. Now I think there's been only a very few cases over here where that's happened, and the woman has actually been held accountable and served a sentence.
Well,
And
like
you
here,
know,
perfect example. Like there was a woman that got, it was proven beyond any shadow of a doubt. In fact, she was found guilty of evidence tampering.
nice.
Um, uh, and the thing is, you know how long she got? 2 years for destroying
Yeah,
two men's lives.
yeah, out on good behavior, right?
And then 3 years of oh, what was it? Probation
Yeah.
after the 2 years. And I'm like, are
So,
you fucking kidding me? It's all like, no, fuck you. No, no, that's absolute fucking bullshit.
no, exactly. Yeah, it's not on because let's face it, a guy wouldn't. Although I say that, again, there are some exceptions with some guys, but not nowhere near as many as what there are for the women, of course, which is brings back the whole equality thing and how it's not equality, you know.
Yeah. And the thing is people get irritated at me when I bring up that double standard. When I sit there and I go, all right, look, if she hadn't gotten caught in this, what would these guys have had coming their way? Now, even though she did get caught in it, what do these guys have coming their way? And people are starting to actually pay attention to that now, even though some people sit there and go, oh God, what the fuck? You know, but it's all like, no, here it's over and over and
It's
over again. Like with
it's
these
valid,
two
yeah.
guys, they ended up losing their scholarships. They had full ride scholarships. They were football players on the
Oh
team.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
lost
I
their
know.
fucking scholarships, and then the school started into a STAR investigation after they had already been cleared of all the charges. And so, on advice from their counsel that they had from the initial case, they ended up just dropping out of the school instead of getting an expulsion
Yeah,
on their
which
record.
yeah, which still isn't good, really.
Yeah, because then when they go to the next school, I think it was Teal Deer that brought it up.
Yeah,
He sat there and said, well, you know, they have two options when they go to another school. Either they can bullshit about it, which is going to call in their ethics, basically,
yeah, reputations and that. Yeah, and their
or
morals.
they're gonna be honest about it, and then all of a sudden all the problems just transferred over to the new school.
Yeah, they get judged for that as well over there.
Exactly, and even
For
though they
something
were
that, yeah,
found not
not
guilty
guilty. Yeah, no,
completely and
exactly that.
totally. And so it's all like people sit there and they get onto some of the hardline MGTOWs, and I'm actually going to somewhat defend some of the hardliner MGTOWs here on one level. I know, big shocker to everyone, but I'm going to defend them on one thing. The hardliner MGTOWs that are sitting there and saying the only way to stay safe is to be a monk, they are right and they are wrong at the same time, because now it's not even being a MGTOW monk, like a dedicated MGTOW monk, like straight up Gandhi level, all right, doesn't fucking matter, because the thing is they're trying to get it to where just you looking in their direction for too long,
Counts as
which
something. Yeah.
too long is subjective, by the way.
Oh yeah, of course. You
um
know, standard
just
in
get
this
it,
day and
just you
age.
looking in their direction for too long, they can sit there and say, oh, he was sexually harassing me. I could feel
Yeah,
his evil male gaze, you know? And it's like, fuck off.
yeah.
You know, it's all like,
And,
son of a bitch.
then what
But the
about
thing is,
those
they're
that?
100% right, because as soon as you stick your dick into a woman, I think Tilder has a ongoing series on his channel called Consensual Rape.
Okay.
And like, I know a lot of people have issues with teal deer. You
Yeah.
know, it's all like I know there's some people, which is understandable, because he's a lot like me in that regard. That he has a hard time getting straight to the point sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Well,
he
I know
he
that one.
fluffs about sitting there and making sure that there's no way people are misunderstanding where it's coming from. So I
Yeah,
understand where Killdeer comes from on that. But the thing is when you've got hardliner MGTOWs, I understand where they're coming from, where they're all like, yeah, the rule is don't stick your dick in crazy. All women are crazy, therefore don't stick your dick in any of them.
yeah.
And it's
Which is
starting to
yeah,
show as true now, because we're seeing more and more instances of this. And now you have to question something. before, the age of cameras, body cams, held recorders and all that, how many guys went to prison that were completely fucking innocent?
Well, this is it.
And
Well,
now
this is
they're
it.
sitting
But
there and
then,
saying, oh, well, we're going to sit there. We have DNA evidence showing that this guy didn't fucking do this. But they're all like, oh, no, we're not going to rehear it. That's not enough evidence. What?
yeah.
So, like, something that will definitively prove that this person didn't do it isn't enough evidence? What the fuck?
But is then that to keep their own nose clean?
It's not only to keep their own nose clean, but it's also so that way they can keep from having to admit that the system is completely, totally, utterly, unrepairably broken in its current
Yeah.
state. And I know that was a lot of absolutes all in one fucking sentence. But the thing is I feel safe saying those absolutes, and that should say something to anyone. How often do I speak in absolutes?
Well, this is it.
It's all like I don't really speak in absolutes, but at this point I can absolutely say that the system is completely fucking broken and it needs a complete and total overhaul, like getting demolished down to the fucking ground and rebuilt from the ground up by people that actually have more than 2 brain cells to rub together.
Well, I mean, pun intended, but to be fair, it does need to be more fair in
It
terms of
does.
punishments fitting crimes and genders.
Yeah.
None of this, none of this. Oh, out on good behavior because vagina. None of that shit.
And the thing
Yeah.
is in several discussions I've actually brought this up. In fact, it was funny, I actually brought it up in the nursing class that I was in. Oh yeah, the women's, oh, they were not a fan of it. But the thing is
So you got a
as
few
part of
fan
it,
members.
I actually had them bring in several male teachers and several female teachers on a board to give me my grade instead of just my teacher, which was unheard of in the school. But I got the dean to agree to it because I'm all like, I want to prove something. And so I had the teacher give me an individual grade,
Okay.
but then I had the board give me a grade on my discussion. Funny thing is, my
Right.
teacher was female.
Huh.
Her individual grade was slightly above an F, so not quite failing,
Yeah.
but very low grade. But then the board, when they sat there and deliberated and that sort of thing, gave me extra credit.
So again, it was biased.
Mm-hmm. But my whole discussion was, I think that because the thing is the board didn't actually watch me give the presentation. That's the kicker. They got my presentation through a voice modulator.
Okay.
So they didn't know if I was male, if I was female, anything. They didn't know my name. They didn't know any identifying information about me. All they knew was that I was a student in the nursing program. That's
No,
it.
fair.
Um, and I was bringing up how us, as soon as we see someone, we have bias. And the only way that we can effectively judge a situation is before we see the person or see any identifying information about the person.
Yeah, which is
And I used my teacher's bias to prove my point.
fair enough.
And and the thing is obviously it was fucking awesome. Because when I got that grade from them, their grade was my grade. My teacher's grade was overridden. That was part of the
Yeah.
deal that I had with the
Okay.
dean.
No, fair, fair.
Because this assignment really had no place in a nursing course, and this was meant specifically to target me because I had been speaking up in the class, and I knew this, so I
Yeah,
headed them
right.
off on it by using logic, reason, and fairness.
No, exactly that.
And
But
so,
then, but then you know what they say about the nail that stands out being the one that gets hammered down, right?
yeah, well, I'm a stubborn ass
Which is
motherfucking nail.
which is obviously
I'm
what
the nail that when you hammer it down, it doesn't actually go in like it's supposed to. I'm the one that bends over and I make all that extra work for you. You know, you got to go ahead, you got to re-straighten it out, and then you got to fucking pull it out. Then you got to replace it, and then the next nail does the exact same fucking thing. You know, I'm that one. I'm the nail that never fucking goes down. I'm the one that's always fucking there just to catch your clothing, say, hey, you need to listen to me. Um, I'm
No,
that
fair.
one. And I'm happy to be that one. But the thing is I think that our legal system should be that way. I do not think that the person being accused, I don't think that they should use anything. They should use completely, this is going to sound weird coming from me, they should use completely gender neutral terminology. There should be no indicators as to whether the person is male or female.
But then that shouldn't matter anyway, because at the end of the
Exactly.
day, it's
But I'm
justice should
saying
be
it does
justice.
matter in our society
Of
because
course,
of
yeah.
liberal doctrine being fucking shoved into our heads from when we're little tiny fucking kids. And if we're resistant to it when we're little fucking kids, funnily enough, most boys are the most resistant to it. Then they drug us to where we have no defenses.
Yeah. No, exactly
And
that.
so, but the thing is I actually brought that up and I still stand by it even today because I have now seen proof of it working.
All right, fair.
And so, but the thing is it's interesting.
Yeah, but when it is it going to effectively change? That's I mean that's the big question. We'll I mean we'll, especially like from our sort of gender, obviously the guys. It's because that change needs to happen. But at the moment, it's like I say that I've said myself before. It's getting better, but it's
Oh,
still not right.
by,
It's
by the
got
way,
a long,
guys,
long way to go.
one second, I gotta say something. By the way, guys, I'm actually gonna start cracking down on my chats a little bit more.
There's someone getting out of order.
Yeah, and so
Who's who's piping up?
David M.
Give him the Carly treatment.
Well, I just put him in a 300-second timeout, so
Oh, fair.
he can stop trying to derail the shit. He's trying to sit there and say I have a voice of a prepubescent child and all that shit.
Well, it may be legit.
It might be, but the thing is
Yeah.
he's sitting there, saying, "Oh, you're a loser. No one cares what you talk about, motherfucker." I got at least 11 people that give a fuck about what I'm talking about, and most of my videos get 200 plus views, so at least there's a few people there. So fuck
And if you
off.
don't, and if you don't like it, yeah, see yourself out of it.
And
At the
that's
end of the
only
day.
here. Also on my BitChute, I'm getting on average, 40 to 50 views on BitChute for Christ's sake per video.
Fair, fair, man.
So I'm like, whatever. In fact, for a while there, I was actually trending on the front page of BitChute.
Cool.
So yeah.
Happy days.
So yeah, that's a kicker.
No, fair, man. As for the other, yeah, as for matey piping up, you don't like it, shut up and fuck off. Simple.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Um, but the thing is also with your little exchange with my ex.
Oh yes.
I don't know if you saw
was
that.
we?
I don't know if you saw the reply that I gave to you.
No, I haven't been back to check. I kind of left it
Oh
as it
yeah,
was.
yeah. Basically, I was saying I'm not gonna let her be on this fucking channel. To start spreading her fucking bullshit and all that. She gets to do that in every other fucking aspect of my life. She's already cost me several jobs by actively going out and talking smack to me to my potential employers. And
I'm
so I'm
pretty
not going to allow that
sure.
shit on here.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not saying obviously invite it in without actually researching it, but over here we got defamation of character, which is a legal thing. So if
We do
someone
have
speaks
that,
ill of
but
you,
also remember I live in a conservative area. So that's kind of that would be dicey in this. I live in California,
fair.
so I live in a liberal state in a heavily conservative area. Son of a bitch. I'm screwed both ways. No matter where I go, I'm fucked. Unless I'm willing to take it all the way up to federal court, and at that point, it's not worth it.
Yeah, yeah, top. Yeah, you're talking big dollars then.
Yeah, exactly.
big dollars to get anywhere, and yeah, we all know it won't be worth it in the long run,
But yeah,
unfortunately.
so
So
that's the reason why I actually banned her, and that's the reason why her comments disappeared.
yeah, oh, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah,
Uh,
no,
so
I did sort of wonder. I thought, oh,
yeah, I
maybe
just
she'd
wanted to
had a.
clear that up.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. No, that's cool.
I mean, hell,
I
she has the audacity to come into my room to start bitching at me, unannounced, uninvited, no knocking, nothing.
fuck's sake. There's that entitlement
Yeah.
right there.
And so I'm like, if I was to fucking do this at your house, what the fuck would happen? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's all like, really?
yeah. 5-0 turns up, right?
It's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Fuck's sake.
So like one of these times I'm gonna be sitting there, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind, I'm gonna do some hardcore fucking drugs, you're gonna come busting in, I'm gonna think it's the fucking feds, I'm gonna go into that fight or flight mode, I'm not gonna recognize that you're not a fucking fed, and I'm gonna blow your brains out. That's what's gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, and you don't want that.
Just pray I don't start doing hardcore drugs. You know, it's
Nah, you
like son of a bitch.
nah, man, you're better than that. I know that,
Yeah, no.
and
No,
you
not
know that.
not to mention I know
So.
I have an addictive personality, so yeah, hardcore drugs are not a thing.
No,
Uh,
no, for
the
sure.
the most quote unquote hardcore thing I've ever done was opium once, and it didn't even affect me. So I'm all like, what's the fucking point?
No, fair. Maybe
Like,
you got
I don't
lucky,
know if
but
I'm immune
either
to it
way,
or what, but there was like absolutely fucking no effect on me. In fact, it
maybe
kept
you
the
got
weed that
really
it was
lucky.
lacing from affecting me. So it was a waste of weed.
Damn.
I'm like, motherfuck! Damn it!
Yeah, no, exactly, man. But yeah, no, it's one of them, mate. But it goes back to the whole entitlement thing, like you say, invading. Because obviously that's one of the comments I sort of left, and I was sort of thinking about it. It's like, how far into this do I want to go? That's why I kept it on the sort of level. And I didn't want to go too off, but it's just another way of invading your personal space. Not it, I mean, obviously we're
Yeah,
looking at from a men's point of view. It's like a male space. It's like fuck off, man.
yeah.
This is his
It's like
thing.
this is a
Let
fucking
him do
MGTOW
his
channel.
thing. Yeah, let him do his thing, man. This is his space. Leave him be. Go and
Yeah,
do
but she
whatever
can't
you
do
do.
that. The funny thing is me after about 3 months after the breakup, I was like, you know what? I want nothing to fucking do with her. Whatever. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I was all like, fuck this. I'm moving on. And she has had to try to have a say in every last fucking thing that I have ever done since then. Like she cannot keep her nose out of my fucking business.
Is her life that boring?
Well,
Do you
no,
know what
it's
I mean?
she's that much of a fucking control freak. She was like that when we were together.
Oh shit. Yeah.
But I actually brought it up one time. I'm all like, you always want to go ahead and have your nose in my fucking business. You got a new guy to fucking kick around. Go after him.
Yeah. Exactly. Go and fuck his shit
But
up.
the
You
thing
don't.
is he's one of those ones he doesn't really stand up to her too much. And I
Ah.
understand it. I mean, she's got a very strong personality, and he's actually a really nice guy. I actually like the guy, oddly enough. Funny thing is, I have no problems hanging out with him. I enjoy hanging
Yeah.
out with him. And so that's weird.
No, you'll
Um,
probably find that's often the case. It's kind of because you know kind of what's coming. You know what he's going through because you've been there. And this is my personal theory on it anyway. Whereas you sort of think, yeah, I spent XYZ amount of time with this chick, so you know what she's like, and
yeah,
at the same, you know that she's probably not going to pick an asshole like a bad boy, a bad guy, or whatever. Maybe who knows, right?
yeah,
But you you'll tend to know that the guy that she will pick isn't going to be that bad boy that is going to stand up and put up a fight, and like in terms of like an argument and having his say over her say, and not actually meeting a compromise if there's something that she wanted to gain out of whatever the argument was about.
yeah,
Because it's and this is something with some women. I've got to throw the some in there that they will go out and specifically choose guys that are nice guys because they know that they can control them in that way.
yep,
But when you get someone like you or myself, whereas I genuinely believe that we're both genuinely nice guys, but we have our boundaries. And if you
oh
cross
yeah.
them boundaries, you get called out and you get told.
Well, it was just like with me. Like I was pretty fucking understanding a lot of fucking shit. Like when we were together. I'll be honest, it's all like, yeah, there were some things I had issues with, and I would bring them up most of the time. Sometimes it was all like, you know what, it's not worth it. But
Yeah.
that shit started piling up, piling up, piling up, piling up. And then I saw a massive fucking issue. My ex actually didn't even know this, but I actually had a ring. I had a
All
ring
right.
in hand. I was going to go ahead and propose to her until I sat there and decided to go ahead and start probing a little bit.
Wise
And no,
choice.
not in the way, not in
So.
the way that I ended up with my daughter in a complete in mental way. Um,
Oh dear, you did what now? Carry on. I'm taking a piss. Carry on.
but the thing is I started probing, and I asked her. I asked her one thing. I'm all like, "Hey, would you be okay with skipping a bachelor and bachelorette party?" And she was completely vehemently against it. I'm all like, "All right, well, all right, fair enough." Because she brought up some valid points. All right, fair enough. But then I was all like, "All right, how about this? How about we agree if a stripper shows up to the bachelor or bachelorette party, we fucking bounce out, text the other person, and then we go ahead and hang out."
Yeah,
That
which
was
is
when
really.
she sat there and said that strippers aren't sexual and strip clubs
Yeah,
aren't sexual. I'm like,
yeah, okay,
are you
yeah,
fucking kidding me?
yeah. Of course they're not.
I'm all like, nope,
Not at all.
nope, nope.
No, not at all.
And that was the moment where I took the ring, took it out, sold it for just about as much as I spent on it. I did take a little bit of a loss on it, but it served as a little fucking thing. And I ended up spending some unbeknownst money on myself.
And rightly so.
And so, but she was having issues with me, playing World of Warcraft, and Final Fantasy 11. The big one was Final Fantasy 11. She hated that because with Final Fantasy 11, it's all like, look, if I sit down to play this, I'm playing it for 3 hours minimum in
Yeah,
one go
yeah,
because you can't really get anything done on Final Fantasy 11 by getting on and playing for just an hour. You're not unless you're in the low levels, and I was in the
yeah.
higher
You
levels.
you get sucked into it, same as anything else.
And so
Mm.
the thing is at that point, she started having issues, and then she all of a sudden started wanting to go over and hang out with, at that time, my best friend's wife as soon as I got home from work. Well, remember, I was not only working, but I was also going to school with an overload of
Right,
credits on it. I was going above full time school. I was working damn near full time hours at my job, but they would drop my hours every other week to keep me from being classified as full time so they wouldn't have to give me the benefits because
right,
only
yeah.
management was allowed to be full time. And then, um, and this was also with me working overtime, extra shifts, so on and so forth. And she kept spending us under the table.
Hmm. That's yeah. They have this knack of doing that, don't they?
And then in addition to that, I was also managing the network for for the vast majority of our complex because we ended up getting a 100 megabit per second connection, but everyone was chipping in on the cost.
Right.
It ultimately saved us all money, and we got infinitely faster speeds, unless all of us were on, at which point we were at the basic speed, but we were still saving money. So what the fuck ever, winning,
Yeah, doesn't
awesome
matter.
thing.
Yeah,
But
doesn't
that
matter.
takes work. That takes work. And I always had to have my phone on me and charged. So that way, if it went down, I could access it from outside of the network to
Yeah,
go ahead
yeah.
and correct anything that went
You can
wrong.
still get on. Yeah, yeah. You can still get on
So
there.
I was constantly on call at that point. And then on top of that, I had all of the homework
Yeah, so
from
you're
school
flat
that I
out.
had to do, which I was doing programming as well as calculus,
Cool.
along with I think it was I don't know if I was taking sign language at that point, but oh no, I was taking Japanese as well.
Oh, fucking hell. Fair,
So
fair.
I'm learning programming language, I'm learning a spoken and written language, and I'm learning fucking mathematical shit that makes most people's brains melt.
Yeah, going all out.
And I was also taking network security courses.
Okay, fair.
So
Makes
I
sense.
had my fair share of homework, but she expected me to go out, work my shifts, go to school, come home, and then take care of our daughter for 6+ hours,
Yeah,
and then stay up
which
afterward to go ahead and do my homework, and me not to burn out.
which is inevitable.
And then she kept spending us under the table. So
But you
yeah,
know what, man?
control freak.
You were so unreasonable, man. I don't know what the
Yeah.
fuck's wrong with you.
You know, Bill
Hey.
Burr had a really good fucking and then she also sat there and complained about me gaining a little bit of weight when, let's just say this, land whale.
Oh man.
But I was a chubby chaser, so I didn't have a fucking problem with it. But she complained with me gaining a little bit of fucking weight and then started denying me sex.
Oh,
And then she
that's
wanted me
fine.
to do half of the fucking housework on top of it. All. And then she bitched and complained about me sitting there and using porn to jerk off.
Yep. Take
I'm
away the
like, are you
niceties
fucking
and
kidding me?
complain. No, exactly that. Yeah, all work and no play and all that, right?
And love, the reason why she wanted me to watch my daughter for 6 hours was because it was so she could go ahead and go over and hang out with my best friend's wife for six
Yeah,
hours and just bullshit.
that sounds about right.
At the very least, she was still within my line of sight because they lived right across the way from us. So I could see her outside hanging out. So it's all like I knew she was actually hanging out with her.
Oh, at least that's
You know,
something. When
at least I had that shit.
yeah, at least you weren't being, fed the spill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is it's all like, and yet somehow people view me as the bad guy when she ended up breaking up with me after she had
But
found some other fucking guy, the guy that she's with now. And the
yeah, but you,
reason why I'm saying that is because the only argument she has against her cheating on me is that she didn't take a picture with the guy until a week and a half after me and her separated.
yeah, but that makes it fine. You
I'm
didn't.
all like, are you
Oh,
fucking kidding? Really?
what? You
Really?
didn't get the
That's
memo.
your best fucking argument?
What? You
Fuck
didn't
you.
get the memo. You didn't get the memo. Is that what you're saying?
And I'm like,
Fuck's sake.
Jesus Christ, fucking A. But so yeah, that's the reason why I banned her from here, because that's the type of person that would have been on here. Fuck that noise.
Yeah, no,
She
that's
has
fair
no
play.
problems lying through her fucking goddamn teeth, blowing shit out of proportion. I'm not perfect. Anyone who knows me knows I will openly admit I am not a perfect person.
No, mate, ain't no such
Ever.
thing.
I am not a perfect person. In fact, I am flawed beyond all belief. In fact, in some ways, I'm proud of my flaws. Um, like me, being a person that can go from completely logical to completely emotional in the blink of an eye. I'm proud of myself for that because I can also do the reverse. I can go from pissed off as fuck back to fucking logical and relatively fucking calm, and then back to pissed off. I can flip flop back and forth on a dime. No problems with it, as people saw in my video. Um, the one where this discussion happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all like, no, I can go ahead, go into that emotional, and then go back into logical, then go back into emotional, so on and so forth. And then I
Yeah.
can combine the two in any capacity. So I'm proud of myself for that, but that makes me defective in society today because I'm able to have emotions.
Well, they keep on saying that, guys should be emotional, more
Yeah, they
emotional.
keep saying guys should be emotional, and then when guys are emotional, oh my god, why is he talking
It's
to
a,
me about his emotions?
it's,
What the
it's a,
fuck? Is this guy
it's
a
a
gay or
problem.
something?
It's a
It's like,
problem. Yeah.
fuck me. But
Exactly.
yeah, no, they're driving more men to MGTOW now because now, on top of everything else that has just been fucking discussed, that's viewed as completely normal and acceptable, now they're sitting there and saying, if you fail at flirting, you can go to prison.
So what are they saying? That they want us to get good at it? What if it's not
No,
possible?
basically they want us to know our place is where they're coming from on it. I guarantee you that's the mindset.
I'll tell you what, mate.
Guarantee fucking it.
I'll know my place as soon as they know theirs.
Right? Seriously.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
It's all like I know my place. It's behind you with my dick in your ass and my fist in the back of your skull. That's my fucking place.
Oh man, you
But
funny fucker.
it's like son of a bitch, dude. Really? But yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad on this. But yeah, no, honestly, dude, I recommend you go ahead and read the links that I'm going to be putting in the description after this is done and over with, because
Yeah,
I'm
man.
linking all three. And apparently they're starting to go after MGTOW shit on Reddit,
Yeah,
or
well,
so they say. I'm
that's
all
bound
like,
to happen.
yeah. Um,
What go after, like as in witch hunt, or go after as in they're
as in delete,
curious?
as in wipe.
All right.
Um,
Well, standard.
but yeah.
It's not there.
So
Can't see it.
the three articles, I already did the New Hampshire one. The other one is the consequence of this new sexual counter revolution, no sex at all, by the Spectator. And then you got the 17 reasons for suicide. Uh, yeah, those are the three links I'm going to go ahead and put in, and I highly recommend that if you're going to only read one, I highly recommend the Why Divorce and Suicide is a Fatal Brew for Men. That is the best one. The rest of them I'm kind of taking the piss out of for the most part, except for it's all like I'm fully agreeing with the Amsterdam one because it's true. The stuff that's brought up in there is absolutely fucking true. And then you've got the consequences of sexual counter revolution. Yeah, it's called MGTOW. We are the consequence.
Well,
If you want to be moral busybodies, then you got to expect people to stop playing the fucking game if you keep moving the goddamn goalposts.
yeah, exactly. Well, it goes with the territory, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You, this is just it. I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of the sort of mix out. They got to that point where it's just sort of like, well, what is the actual fucking point? And it's something that I've kind of thought of on many different levels. Like, is well, I think it's more of a combination of things. It's like you want to be the nice guy, you don't want to be the asshole, right? Just because you don't want to be an asshole. I'm talking here about when if you're dating someone that you like or whatever, and then you get the shit tests and you kind of bend over backwards to try and appease, and then at the same time, whereas the guy's doing it out of the kindness of his heart and obviously to win over, as it were, the affection of the woman that he's dating or whatever.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it's just like you go through all that and you kind of get shat on, and then when you go the other way and maybe you go out, you arrange a date and you stand them up, or you shit test them, then the
And then
guy's
you
the
get
one with
shit
the
on.
problem. Yeah, the guy's the one with the problem, and he
Yeah.
gets the backlash of that. So
Yeah. It's a
it
no-win
seems that
situation at this point, just socially, and now they're making a no-win situation legally.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's already been a no-win situation financially for a long fucking time. As far as the socially is concerned, I think that's something since time immemorial. But now that it's also going into the realms of legal, it's like literally there's no safe way of men actually interacting with women at this point. No matter what, it's you flipping a fucking coin.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm not Two Face. No,
No,
no, fuck
exactly
that.
that.
I'm not Two Face. I'm not saying flipping a coin is fucking fair at this
Well,
point.
no,
It's
of
not.
course it's not. It's not. No, definitely not. And especially, I mean, like I say, because you get the amount of guys that, I mean, let's face it, everyone, and I mean everyone, regardless of gender, has the potential to be an absolute thunder cunt if they want to be. But of
Yeah.
course, with most guys, that are sort of not necessarily blue pill, but they're sort of they're aware of the red pill, they're aware of MGTOW, and they're in that kind of scenario, and you know, still kind of thinking along the lines of, well, you know, let's see if we can please this bitch sort of thing.
Yeah.
Now, and
That,
it's like you say, it's being made impossible on every level. And then again, with they're going to be pointing at the guys again and calling us the bad guys because we don't want to play them games
yeah.
anymore
Well,
because it
it's the
is,
same. It's the same type of thing as with at work. Like my dad used to work at the Walmart distribution center. And what it
okay,
was they would go ahead and they would incentivize you for meeting the numbers that were needed. All right, fair enough, right? Rewarding
yeah,
hard
yeah,
work, that's a good thing. But
yeah,
there was also a downside to it because if you were consistently bonusing, then they would move the goalposts and increase how much productivity you needed until it was a point of where you were going to have to break rules to meet those
yeah.
fucking numbers. And if you didn't meet the numbers, you could be fired. So
Oh
either you
yeah,
bonused or you could get fired. What the
yeah. I'm
fuck?
familiar with that. Yeah, I'm
And
familiar
so
with
it's
that.
all like, and that's how it's gotten with, women and men as far as relationships are concerned. It's gotten to the point where men are all like, this is literally impossible for me to do while following all the rules. And last time I checked, we don't live in the Naruto universe where the test is designed to see how well you can cheat.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, last time I
Yeah,
checked. Um, so at this point, it's all like, if I hear women asking where have all the good men gone, it's all like they're in hiding.
yeah. You've pissed them off.
It's like they're in hiding. They can't come
Yeah,
near you. Big Daddy government standing there with the fucking shotgun waiting for us to come into fucking view. You want us, you have to go wandering off into that forest and spread your legs with a blindfold on. That's basically what it is at this point.
yeah, yeah. Pretty
If you
much.
expect guys to fucking, come after women with all this fucking bullshit up against men, good luck.
Well, there's
I mean, there's
there's
going to be the lemmings, but those aren't the guys that you're wanting.
no, exactly. And yeah, it is that scenario of like with what we said, it's too dangerous, and it is.
And they're making it more dangerous by the day. And so I'm
Yeah,
like, you know what? It's time to just stop on all this shit. It's all like, how about this? Address some fucking male issues. Like, I heard that there was some group of apparently there's another wave of feminists coming down the pipeline,
oh, okay, this should be
but
fun.
apparently they're being regressive feminists. Like, as
Oh,
far as
okay.
feminism is concerned, they're being regressive. Apparently, they're all like, yo, we do need to focus on men's issues because it's affecting all of us. They're actually kind of getting the picture
Fair
to,
enough.
to, to a degree. I mean, they're still, one sided base bitches, but at least I'm not calling them cunts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
Because the
think
thing is,
that's
is I don't think they classify as cunts because at this point, at the very least, they're starting in the right direction. Maybe 4 or 5 waves from feminism from now, feminism will fully fucking die off because people will be all like, why do you call this feminism? All you do is say that men have all the problems, you know?
cause all the problems.
Yeah, instead of
No,
cause all the problems like feminism is
yeah,
known for. So it's all like, yeah, like I can kind of understand that, and I can get behind that. Like, if there are women out there that are sitting there and going, yeah, no, women have it pretty fucking good. Men are the ones who are having issues that aren't being fucking addressed in any serious capacity. All right, cool. I'm cool with them. It's the ones that sit there and say, oh, well, feminists say, it's all like, okay, yeah, I'm not listening to you.
Hmm.
Because I've heard all this shit before. There's a reason why I call feminism a cult. Because
Oh
basically,
wow.
feminism could sit there and say, one of us. And that would be a better argument than the vast majority of the arguments that they bring forward.
Yeah. No, that's yeah.
You know? And so people don't understand that about me. It's all like, and some people try to sit there and say I'm a hardliner MGTOW. Really? Have you seen hardliner MGTOWs and what they say? Have you seen hardliner MGTOWs and how they treat men?
Mate, even I can't say I've seen that, to be fair.
It's all
But
like,
then,
son of a fucking bitch. It's all like hardliner MGTOWs typically aren't exactly the kindest to men. You know, it's all like if a guy's having fucking issues, they basically do the equivalent of telling him to rub some dirt in it and walk it off. It's all like, no, at that point, MGTOW is one of those things where we're supposed to be supportive of other men, help them get up on their feet, at least, you know,
Yeah, give them the
at
advice
least
or
mentally and
whatever.
emotionally,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, and encourage them to go out and do their own fucking thing to live their life the best they fucking can.
yeah, exactly. Which is, yeah,
The one
pretty
core
much what.
thread is we sit there and we point at what women do to men and we go, don't do that. You know, don't
Yeah,
get involved with that. That's the one tying thread between MGTOWs.
no, exactly. But no, I
All the
mean,
rest of
like I
it comes
say,
down to hyperbole.
no, fair. Well, like I say, I haven't really been on the scene much. To be fair, so I wouldn't even know which ones are hardline and which ones aren't these days. To be
Yeah,
fair,
yeah. Fair
and
enough. Fair
and
enough. Like
and
me,
how
I
they
don't really
deal with it.
watch. Like I said, the only MGTOW channels that I watch anymore is every once in a while TFM's channel. Every once in a while.
Yeah, yeah,
But you know, he says just as much that I disagree with as much as he says stuff that I agree with him. So I've been kind of tapering off on it.
fair,
But
fair.
I watch Raging Golden Eagle damn near religiously.
Yeah,
If anything, that's the cult I'd want to be in.
yeah,
If, but his isn't even a cult. It's just he puts out the information and goes, "What do you think?" You know,
yeah, yeah.
that
No,
is not a
fair
cult
enough.
mentality. Because if anyone ever sits there and calls a group a cult, where they sit there and go, "Well, what do you think of it?" and actually listens and doesn't sit there and disown them if they don't give the right answer,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
not a
Yeah,
cult.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. It's
so like,
open discussion.
but I fully respect Raging Golden Eagle. Like honestly, as far as any of the MGTOWs out there in the manosphere that I've heard of, Raging Golden Eagle has the most respect from me.
Fair, fair.
I will admit that. But also at the same time, we're both gamers, so I feel a little camaraderie there. So I might be a little bit fucking biased, to be perfectly honest. But and we both like anime, so that's another thing. Because in MGTOW, liking anime somehow is bad for the most part.
Mm,
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Really?
yeah, shouldn't really even come into it. It's like individual choice, really. It's like, well, what the
Right? It's
fuck?
all like people are gonna like what they fucking like.
Exactly.
It doesn't make me a weeaboo just me liking anime. It just means I like the stories that they fucking throw out there. Come the fuck on.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly, man.
and a lot of the animes that I like are comedy animes. It's all like, who doesn't like to laugh?
No, this is it. But again, it shouldn't even fucking matter. It shouldn't even come into it.
But yeah, there's there
You know.
there's a bunch of MGTOWs that are trying to say that if you like anime, you're somehow a pedophile automatically.
Oh,
I'm
fucking
like,
yeah,
what?
whatever.
Oh
That's
my
just like
god!
whatever.
Wow. But no, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous how fractured MGTOW is right now, and it really saddens me to see it. But whatever. It
Yeah,
comes with
I think.
the whole going your own way thing.
Yeah, yeah, well, this is it. I mean, I think even Square Peg left a message on one of my videos not too long ago saying that you could see it like splintering off into different sects, as it were. Whereas one lot will, like you say, with the hard lines, they have their own little specific views and
Mhm.
whatever. But again, what I mean, it's at that point you're becoming as narrow-minded and unfocused as what I'm going to refer to as the enemy.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
the very thing that caused people or men to go MGTOW
And the
in
thing
the
is
first
people
place.
sit there and think that I call individuals enemies. Actually, no, because the thing is with me, I have an issue with ideologies, not with individuals per se. There
Exactly.
are some people that, yeah, I look at them and I'm all like, yeah, the world would be a much brighter place, both metaphorically speaking and literally speaking, if you were gone.
Mm.
There are some people that I feel that way about, but they also tend to be the ones that are sitting there and using this fucking division to profit.
Oh yeah. Oh no, without a
Um,
doubt.
and a lot of them
Because
are on the left, but some of them are on the right as well. You know, like I said, I'm a centrist. I'm right leaning. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
but
but
it's
you're
a
still
very
not.
slight
Yeah,
lean. You know, it's all like my wheelhouse is very much so in the center. So I
yeah.
catch
Well, I
stuff
mean,
from
it's
one group and I catch stuff from the other. It doesn't fucking matter.
exactly. It's just trying to get it all, getting something that will come together between the two and work successfully.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I don't know.
Well, that
Because I
requires compromise, and that's not gonna fucking happen. Let's be
no,
honest.
exactly that. Exactly. But then it's like, what do you do, right? I
Yeah,
think just
Black
kick
Sand
back.
says, "What? I like manga and anime." And Love
I
says,
went it.
"Ryu, come on, you're a weeaboo. It's okay." I used to be a weeaboo. I actually used to.
God damn it.
I actually used to. I actually used to be until they let feminism invade, and then I'm like, yeah, no, I'm gone. Peace.
Enough's enough. Laters. And,
But yeah.
I think with that one, sir, with the greatest of respect, I'm gonna have to bust a groove. I think because
All right.
yeah, I've got this work thing in the morning, so you
All
know how
right,
it is,
fair
man.
enough, man. Thank
Cool,
you for
cool,
coming on, man.
mate.
We miss having you on here.
My
Hopefully,
pleasure.
you can come on and do some more live streams with me. I know, I know you were planning on reducing your content output or outright stopping, but I'd
Yeah,
like to
yeah.
have you on more often, man. I honestly miss having your input on it
Cool, man. Yeah, I appreciate
because
that. And
you help keep me from going hardliner because it's been kind of hard for me to resist going hardline lately.
yeah, no, it's all about keeping options open, man, and like keeping a level head. So, I mean, you know where I'm at,
Yeah,
man. Anytime, just give me a message. You know how it is, man. Just give
yeah,
me a
for sure,
shout.
man.
You know.
For sure. All right. Thanks
So
again for coming on, man. I definitely appreciate it.
cool, man. Thanks
And
for
I'm
having
sure
me on.
everyone enjoyed having you back on
Cool,
because, like
cool.
I said, we've been missing you, man.
As always, it's been a pleasure. So you know what I mean. Cool.
Yep. All right.
All
Have
right,
yourself a
fella.
good one, man.
All
Peace.
right. Take care, fellas, and you too, right? Have a good one, mate.
All right.
All right.
All right. So let's go ahead and continue on with the articles. I'm not going to read through all the articles because now we've been going for quite a while now. So I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm already at a 2 hour thing. Oh, my good Lord. I think this is the longest stream I've done in a few weeks. But yeah, basically they address in the Amsterdam article, feels above evidence. Basically uh, what MGTOW's been saying since forever and for always. Um, then there's one section in it called "An Issue We've Always Covered." So I'll go ahead and I'll read this small section. My coverage of the Nottingham debacle, part of a wider virtue signaling operation being orchestrated by politicized UK police chiefs, was preceded by, I'm not going to even try to pronounce that name, uh, about the future of approaching women in public. Soon, this time honored way of meeting a complete stranger will be illegal. Kind of funny how people sit there and look at comments like that and say, oh, well, that's just a slippery slope fallacy. It won't go that way. We just want to protect people. Yeah. Mm, not in the current victimhood culture. Uh, so this year, Albrecht, or I think that's how you pronounce it, continued our critical inquiry. He pointed out the spectacular incongruence of women expecting men to man up and approach first, all while castigating undesired suitors for being so-called street harassers. To be frank, we're tired of being right. Defenders of the draconian Nottingham move said that wolf whistling would not become a hate crime, even if we significantly doubt this. Uh, Rotterdam's legislation has gone one step further and banned catcalling itself. It's only a matter of time before their vague but still menacing feminist laws become specific and even more menacing ones. I cannot disagree with that statement. I really fucking can't in any way, shape, or form. Honestly, I think the guy really hit it out of the park with this. Like I said, I'm going to have the link down in the description below for you guys. Every man is a potential target. And so I think that kind of stands for its own fucking thing. He goes ahead and he talks about one second. This in and of itself can lead to frequent enough rejections as can the fact that many women are taken without you realizing it or simply in a bad mood. You reject some women and some women reject you. It's a part of life. Yet plans like Amsterdam and Rotterdam ones should cause significant concern for two reasons. The first is evident. Who proves whether street harassment took place? Secondly, a massive conflation is at play here. Unwanted communication, which can include compliments and date requests, is progressively being equated with instances of actual violence right up to rape. Having tight game will only take you so far. Just as your tight game won't cure the sluttiness drive of women you encounter, it will not always insulate you from shady, concocted claims of street harassment. It didn't insulate Donald Trump or even Dutch football star Robin van Persie, who found himself held in jail for 2 weeks after a false rape accusation from allegations of misbehavior. If you think you can always escape what these men didn't, you should be teaching the rest of us. Basically, that's a challenge sitting there and saying, come at me, bro. I'm going to disprove everything you're fucking saying to me. And I believe that this person could. Um, but the thing is, he actually brings up, he has a section called the proposals show how rare actual rape and sexual assault is. He even has a graph there. Um, but the thing is, he actually brings up the importing of immigrants and the cultural issues that are happening with that. And the thing is yes, I do see a correlation there, because the thing is when you bring this up, they always like to go ahead and either quote numbers from way back in the past, or they like to quote numbers from the today, here and now, but there's a section there that they want you to ignore. That's what they want. They want you to ignore the fact that during the time of actual moves toward equality, rapes and all that were going way the fuck down. And then as soon as identity politics really started playing a big role, all of a sudden those numbers started going up. But the thing is you also have to look at the correlation between the changing of the laws as well as the actual convictions. Because as they make more and more things considered to be sexual assault or rape, of course you're going to have more convictions because you're broadening the scope of the fucking laws. And then they sit there and use those numbers to sit there and make even more draconian laws, saying, oh, look, it's still a problem. It's a problem that you're fucking creating out of nothing. You're saying that a man complimenting a woman can be considered sexual assault. Are you fucking kidding me? Or a man walking up and saying hi, throwing himself out there like women claim they want men to do. Oh, Black Sand, if they sit there and say that men can't wear clothes, I guarantee you that's going to be the end of it. Because the thing is, if men aren't allowed to wear clothes, then that means they're guilty of flashing every fucking woman that looks in their direction. And so then it would just outright be illegal to be a man. It would be impossible to be a law-abiding citizen and a man at the same time. It would be impossible. But I can see them going that route. Sad to say. Not anytime soon, but later on. Um, but the thing is he also brings up the whole age of cell phone cameras and where all the videos of this so-called harassment, and that's very true. I mean, look at the video that those feminists end up shooting, where they were trying to sit there and show how pervasive sexual harassment was. Look at the areas that they were in. They were in downtrodden areas with a lot of blue collar workers, so on and so forth. A lot of drug. They also went into ghettos, druggy areas, that sort of thing, where you're not exactly expecting the median of people to be. And even then they had a hard time. They had to heavily edit the thing. They were out there for hours upon hours upon hours, and they got a handful of instances of this so-called harassment, like catcalling and so on and so forth. And a lot of it was guys saying, hey, have a nice day, or something like that, and they were saying that that was somehow street harassment. They are wanting to make us antisocial. Period. End of story. And then they're going to sit there and bitch that men are antisocial. Um, and so that is a big problem, and that's one of the reasons why I say cameras are the social condom. They are. They protect you from false claims of this shit, because if you can go ahead and show video evidence that nothing fucking happened, yeah, there's still going to be a lot of fucking backlash from the general community because of fucking gynocentrism, but at least you can keep yourself from going to fucking prison and getting raped in the ass. um and then he goes ahead and brings up the question of how many of the real street harassers are recent immigrants. And the thing is it's shockingly fucking high. um like he brought up Moroccans. They account for 2.2 of the Dutch people, but comprise 11% of the prison population. Around 40%, 48% of incarcerated felons come from non-Western backgrounds, and they are more likely to be perpetrators of violent crimes. In bigger cities like Amsterdam and Rotterdam, indigenous Dutch and even Europeans generally tend to form minorities in many districts. Consequently, the leftist commitment to an anti male but pro mass immigration agenda means that men with no inclination for crime will be unfairly labeled as sex pests for having the balls to approach attractive women in public. Um, and they're sitting there saying that these immigrants aren't a problem. But then they're sitting there and using the statistics whilst stripping out the fact that the immigrants are making up the vast majority of this population while making up a small minority of the population itself. But the immigrants are making up the vast majority of the perpetrators. They strip that out because they can't go ahead and say, oh, yeah, it's the immigrants that are the fucking problem. But they have to sit there and try to make it so people view men as these sexual predators in waiting. And so they're sitting there and they're importing a problem so that way they can solve the problem where the problem wouldn't have existed without them importing the problem. This is how this is working out, people. And yes, it's hard to fucking follow. Yes, it sounds like a fucking conspiracy theorist, but just follow the statistics. There you go. Um, and so, consequence of this new sexual counter revolution. Yeah, basically what it is I'll just go ahead and read this. Feminism isn't producing guides for helping men, it is producing manifestos for torturing them. Need I say more? I think that in that right there, Douglas Murray completely summed up the entire fucking thing. I highly recommend you go ahead and read it. It's a good read. And this is coming from someone who hates to fucking read. So, Why Divorce and Suicide is a Fatal Brew for Men by Ben Isaac. I'm going to go ahead and just list off the 17 reasons that he lists here. 1, the deadbeat dad label. Again, I'm just going through and reading the actual list. 2, alienation and estrangement from children. 3, financial ruin. 4, criminalization of a law-abiding citizen. This one I'm going to go ahead and actually read through because he brought this up, and I hadn't really thought about this until this, and I see where he's coming from on it. Men consistently report feeling as if the judge or opposing attorney in divorce court treats them like a criminal. It's because they do. While they slice up whatever income he makes at a job where he is a human being. This creates cognitive dissonance and the subsequent mental stress of living in conflicting realities. At his job, which the court assumedly wants him to remain successful for the sake of providing child support and alimony, he is not held in contempt. In fact, he might even be held in high esteem with the title and responsibility. In court, though, he is held in contempt. This ravaging of a man's self-esteem, all the other losses experienced by men after divorce, explains why the divorce and suicide risk for men is so high. All right, the next one is losing the entire structure of family, life, and home. That one's arguable, but I'll let you guys go ahead and come up with your own conclusions on that. Being declared dangerous. I'll read this one. Being treated as dangerous or depressed by the court or guardians of the court. A common tactic of an opposing lawyer is to persuade the judge that the father is dangerous or depressed. Fear is a great persuader. If the judge believes there is a credible fear that the father is dangerous, the father is going to lose his relationship with his kids. All it takes is for the opposing side to accuse. Even if the accusation is false, it is difficult to prove because it's always difficult to prove a negative. Because it is, and he said, because it is a he said and she said argument, and the judge will decide in favor of protecting the children from a false accusation. Needing a supervisor. For anyone who is unfamiliar with child custody and how it functions, it can be required that you have a supervisor for visitation. Here's the thing. You have to pay for basically the salary of that supervisor during those visitations. If you can't pay for the supervisor, you don't get visitations. Loss of total identity. 9, shock. 10, loss of reality. Yeah, and this is also another one that you guys should definitely pay attention to. 11, disgrace, which is a kicker, but it ties in with all the others. Loss of career risk. The divorce process can take 1 to 2 years, sometimes longer. If he is not able to keep focused on his job, he runs the risk of losing his employment. If a man loses his marriage, home, children, family, friends, neighbors, and job, this explains the additional connection of divorce and suicide. These are the factors that lead to depression. Separation, or worse, estrangement from his children, sensing the rejection of his children, the demonization by his ex, the court and child support enforcement, the loss of money, home, car, career, neighbors, friends, and community. These all lead to depression. Severe and chronic depression is a clear suicide risk. And as far as the supervisor thing, I am going to read through this one for you guys because that actually ties in with this. One of the most humiliating outcomes of false accusations is that he has to see his children with a supervisor. Imagine he can no longer be alone with his children. This further cements the idea in his children's minds that he is dangerous. As a result, their fear grows and they no longer relish the idea of being in his company. Not only does he have to see his kids with a supervisor, on top of that humiliation, he's forced to pay for the time of the supervisor. So let's see. Loss of love and affection. Well, again, that's a thing. Uh, no support. A man is less likely to have the group support than a woman, especially if he has been working in a career during his marriage. A woman is more likely to have developed emotional bonds outside of her job with friends. On the other hand, a man is more likely to focus on his work. When the divorce comes, he is only left with work and no more emotional support. After work, he is more likely to go home to his space and stew over what went wrong. As a result, the sense of isolation for a man is very intense after divorce, another link between divorce and suicide, and why men are more likely to suicide after divorce. Negative side effects of antidepressants. I've already gone through that in previous videos, skipping forward. No future. Some men after divorce see no future. His wife has a life and family, the children and or friends. He sees a life of struggling to pay the bills, avoid jail with no emotional feedback, and worse, no relationship with his kids. What is the point? He sees no path to feel like he is living a good life. The mental pain of knowing that he has no path to a good life, and this lets a man think the best course then is to just end his life now because he feels that his life is already over. So since it is already over emotionally, financially, he might as well end it physically. And then number 17, and this is another one that a lot of people don't bring up. Sudden visitor status. Recreating a life of 10 or 20 years of marriage uh, dissolves. The wife's life is much the same. The father's is upheaval. The losses of marriage, children, income, home, security, stability, and pride. They all happen in a short amount of time. This causes sufficient shock and humiliation to the father to contemplate suicide. She is still the mother, and the father becomes a visitor. No one likes to lose their status. Being demoted from a father to a visitor is a catastrophic humiliation. So let's see now. 17 very good reasons for a man to feel like suicide is the best course of action after a divorce. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be after a divorce anymore. Now it can be just from a broken relationship. Like I said before, there have been times in my life where I've contemplated suicide. I didn't go through with it, but I know what the barrel of a gun tastes like. And the thing is I can tell you right now, almost all of these ran through my fucking head. Almost all of these were reasons that I brought up while I was actively thinking about it. The only reason why I didn't do it is because I figured, why give them the satisfaction? Me being me developing that little bit of animosity, that little bit of fuck you attitude is the only thing that saved me. And for the longest time, I thought I was alone on that. I thought I was unique. I'm not. In fact, there's a lot of men that develop that. In fact, a lot of them do go MGTOW. And that's the reason why you see that animosity there. That animosity, I'm going to tell you right now, is actually a defense mechanism. So I highly recommend that you guys go through and read at the very least this 17 reasons article, um, because it's very well thought out. It's very it's on the money. It's actually not one sided. It's actually looking at the issues that men are facing in divorce. And it's looking at it realistically and how it affects them as people. So I highly recommend going ahead and reading that. So Square Peg says it kind of frees you because once you're dead in your own mind, the fuck it goes up to 10. Yeah. But the thing is some people don't have that aspect to them. Square. Um, like me, I've always been one of those defiant motherfuckers. When I was a kid, I was defiant. When I was a teenager, of course, I was defiant. As an adult, I'm defiant. Um, and so it's one of those things. Yeah, that's a core part of my personality that never got removed, despite the best efforts of everyone to try to remove it from me. But that defiance actually saved my life. Um, so, and I'm meaning that in the most literal of terms. Because if it hadn't been for that defiance, I wouldn't be here talking now. But yeah, I just wanted to go ahead. I wanted to bring up these articles. Um, the word's getting out there. It's getting really difficult for mainstream media to, cover this sort of shit up because legacy media is getting fucking its ass handed to it in the social media spaces and so on and so forth. So it's a good thing that this information is getting out here, but I'm saddened that it took so long for this information to get out here. It really fucking sucks, and it shows how anti-male a lot of our media truly is. Um, and the thing is the more the media tries to go ahead and downplay this stuff, the more it shows how one-sided they are in the arguments. Because they're sitting there and saying it's okay to talk about women's problems, whether they're real problems or fake problems, but talking about very real, provable issues that men are having to go through on a daily fucking basis to the tunes of millions of men every fucking day. And them sitting there and saying, oh, well, an undisclosed small percentage of women feel this, so this requires our immediate attention. Fuck talking about men's real issues that are leading to hundreds of thousands, if not more, of men killing themselves every fucking goddamn day. When they go ahead and do that, it just shows how one-sided they are and how wrong those slippery slope fallacy accusations have been. I hope the CNN AT&T merger gets blocked. I really do hope that that merger gets blocked because a lot of people don't realize that AT&T owns the vast majority of the internet backbone of our country. And so if CNN gets a hold of that, then they can actively start censoring, especially in conjunction with that worthless pile of shit that heads up the FCC, saying that it's okay for internet service providers to block shit, to throttle shit. The CNN AT&T merger would create a fucking monopoly. It would. It would create a monopoly on information flow. So I really do hope that Trump blocks the CNN AT&T merger. That should never be allowed to fucking happen. Honestly, I don't think any mainstream media or even even alt media should own an ISP. I really fucking don't, especially not an ISP that has that much fucking say. So, yeah, I do really hope that Trump does block that. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to end the stream here, guys. Thank you all for coming in and listening in. I know that this is a longer stream than I have been doing, but there was a lot that needed to cover. Also had Dilgaff on. Absolutely love having him on. So I'm willing to do the longer streams when it's Dilgaff, because don't hear from him that much anymore. So been missing him. So it's good to hear that he's doing well. But yeah, guys, I thank you all for all the support as always, and I'll talk to y'all later. Feel free to go ahead, message me in Discord. Also, shout out to Bullet. I know Bullet's not here right now, but he's the one who sent me the links to these articles, and so I definitely appreciate that. If you guys find some articles that you would like me to cover, go ahead and at me on the Discord. I try to cover as much as I can on it, but yeah, the more you guys send me, the more content I can go ahead and produce. And if it's, up to date articles and such, at least, somewhat still relevant. Hell, even if it's older articles that called out shit that's happening now, go ahead and link them to me. Because like I said, I'm wanting to go ahead and call out the naysayers of the slippery slope here, because we're slipping and this slope is steep. And so people who said that it would never fucking happen, I don't mind saying I told you so, or hey, we told you so, or this person told you so, and you poo-pooed their fucking concerns. And look at what's happening now. Fuck you. I'm starting to listen more to the slippery slope fallacy people, because the thing is they've been proven right over and over and over again lately. So that is a thing. So talk to y'all later. Again, thanks for coming in and listening. If you're listening afterwards, let me know what you think down in the comments. The more comments that are on there, the more interactivity on the fucking channel. The more interactivity on the channel, the wider the spread of this information gets, and the more people we can go ahead and continue to red pill. So please, guys, go ahead, be active in the comments section, have discussions, try to keep it civil, but also at the same time, I fully understand, if you got a hair up your ass and that sort of thing, especially if something on here specifically fucking pissed you off. I can't blame you. But yeah, talk to y'all later. Peace.